Joe Biden now at 38% approval, and even CNN is covering it.
How do Americans think President Biden is handling the country and specifically these economic concerns?
Well, you showed his overall job approval rating a bit earlier. Here it is again. The 38% approve, 62% disapprove. This is a numeric low mark for the president in CNN polling, but he's been in this low range, which is a big warning sign, of course, for his party. But I would also note Republicans and independents have stayed pretty consistent. One of the reasons his numbers have gone down a bit, Jake, is because he's losing support among his fellow Democrats. Then we asked folks, how's he doing on a series of issues? 46% approval on the situation in Ukraine, 39% approval on immigration. But take a look at these numbers here. On the economy, he's at 30% approval, below his overall approval. And on inflation, only 25% of respondents approve of how the president is tackling what is the most pressing issue by far, people say, in terms of how the economy is impacting their family.
How is Biden doing compared to his predecessors?
One way we look at that, Jake, we ask folks, do you believe Joe Biden has the right priorities? Okay, so right now, only 31% say yes, President Biden has the right priorities. 68% say no. This is up 10 points since we scored this last year in the Biden presidency. So now let's take a look at how that 31% who say yes, he has the right priorities stacks up against his modern era predecessors. Look at that. Not very well. 31% for Biden is clearly the low watermark of all Trump, Obama, Bush, and Clinton on this score, Jake.
That's shocking.
James, do you remember there was an orange guy, I always forget his name, he had crazy hair, he was orange, ate McDonald's, who never hit 38%, despite the media always trying to take him out. The media's propped this guy up, and he's at 38%. This is pretty extraordinary, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, what's extraordinary is that it's at 38% and not, like negative 8% or something. It's absolutely astonishing to me, but at least what we're seeing is, as you said, people are waking up in droves. Everywhere I go, whether I talk to Republicans, whether I talk to Democrats, people are seeing whether it's with the grooming of the kids, especially the mad moms or the war moms, as I like to call them, are getting very upset. People are waking up all over the country. It doesn't matter which issue. People are now aware that something's wrong. These gas prices, and then we have both Biden and Mayor Pete, come out and say the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg saying that suck it up and get an electric car. We got to accelerate the contradictions. People are aware that this is not a government that's working for Americans or for America. And Libby mentioned Kamala Harris. I started to laugh because her name was invoked a moment ago. She was tasked with something that's hilarious on its own, because that's not going to happen. But, everybody sees this is just a clown show, that nothing is going to happen. Nothing in this administration is meant to work for Americans. And people are, I call her Vice President Red Pills, by the way. People are very rapidly waking up to the disaster of this thing. And it's the best news ever, because it's about time that we move on from this mess.
Elisha, are you worried that the system always finds a way, that despite all the mad moms, despite the polling, all of that stuff, that it's like they'll either bring COVID back, or they'll monkeypox us, or they'll make Ukraine into a nuclear war, or just like something, because everyone is sort of feeling like, wow, we're starting to win. Polls are showing it, but we're still 3 months or 4 months basically out from an election.
I don't know how in that 3 or 4 months they're going to change the reality for a lot of men and women in the United States who are just seeing outrageous costs, not only at the pump, but at the grocery store. We were just in Michigan for a week and a half for a family wedding. And I told my husband I was stunned. I went to 3 different local grocery stores, and I always think, wow, LA, cost of living so high. Guess what? The only 2 things that were cheaper in northern Michigan were fuel and Michigan fresh cherries. Everything else, from the meat to the eggs to dairy, everything was the same price that I pay here in Los Angeles. That is difficult because the cost of living in LA, of course, rent and stuff is more expensive. But if you're a minimum wage worker or a factory worker or a blue collar or even white collar worker in a blue state like Michigan, who recent polling numbers have shown Biden is doing abysmally after winning that state, Democrats have a big problem and they can't flip the switch overnight.